Hello, true believers. This is Doc Hogg, and welcome to episode 89 of Comics and Variety. If you like this channel, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post new videos, and for the sake of YouTube's search algorithm, please do hit the like button. Alrighty, a couple of quick administrative details before I get to the main part of the video today. First, I'm still having a contest called the Race to 100 contest. You can win 2 free comic books, a copy of issue 4 of Batman Superman, and an issue 1 of Stranger Things Into the Fire. Now, the contest ends tomorrow, Monday, January 27th at noon Eastern Time. The reason being that I have said before that I would end the contest shortly after I got to 100 subscribers, and the other day I reached 100. In fact, I'm at 101 now, so thank you very much. Here are the details for entering. Just subscribe and send me an email letting me know you've subscribed. Or if you are already a subscriber, just send me an email letting me know that, and you will be entered. But hurry, less than a day is left. It does end noon tomorrow. After that, I'll pick the winner, and I will announce it on a video on Tuesday. The other thing, and something that I'm really excited about, is that I have launched the sign-up page for my forthcoming comic book, Tilt. I'm going to be talking more about Tilt in the coming weeks, what it's about, the artists I'm working with, and so on. But for now, here is a quick synopsis of the plot. Jennifer Poehler was only 21 when mobsters murdered her father. Now, with the power to bring alive the kings, queens, and jacks in a deck of cards, she will get justice. Or is it revenge? Please do sign up on the pre-launch page so I can let you know when the campaign will launch. I'll also send you updates on the art and links to videos where I discuss the comic. The link to the sign-up page will be in the description below. Okay, what I want to discuss today is drama, infighting, and Comicsgate. Specifically, I was looking at the YouTube channel called Bianca Fights The Zombies the other day, and about 2 weeks ago he posted a video that made a case against the drama and infighting in Comicsgate. Now, Bianca thinks that the drama in Comicsgate, especially the drama that has surrounded Ethan Van Sciver and his recent fight with Mike S. Miller, is hurting Comicsgate. Here's what he has to say.
Is Comicsgate over? The SJWs, run from Miss Gail Simone, they're no longer attacking Comicsgate. They don't need to, because we're attacking each other. When Comicsgate was all getting along, it was fire. It was the equivalent of must-see TV, must-see YouTube or something. It was really entertaining. It was good, man. But then the Van Sciver madness started to creep in. Think of it like a curse of the werewolf. It's an uncontrollable madness that takes over Ethan, much like what a werewolf feels when it's coming of the full moon. Except instead of eating chicken, he feels a need to control and eat massive amounts of Kentucky Fried Chicken and gatekeep, which he's pretty good at because he's 300 pounds. It's impossible to move him. Both he and Mike are stress eating. They know that this silly fighting is childish and it's causing internal conflict and anxiety, which they placate by eating cakes and pies. Gentlemen, those double chins don't lie.
I'm not sure now about the pie, but certainly there is a lot of drama in the last 6 months. And I know a lot of Comicsgaters don't like it and have serious arguments about why it hurts the movement and why in the long run it will end up hurting sales. That said, I certainly know that I'm probably in the minority when it comes to drama. Why? Well, my attitude toward drama is more like this. Seriously, I tend to think that drama attracts viewers to some degree. Can it be taken too far and chase people away? Sure. But on the other hand, look at how successful shows like Maury Povich or Jerry Springer have been, or look at how successful supermarket tabloids are, and those are all about drama. We're not going to settle that argument anytime soon. So let's take a look at what Bianca points to as evidence that the Comicsgate drama is harmful.
Comicsgate channels are flat. Comicsgate channels are dead, and I know how to fix it. EVS's, your boys' channels are dead. Is Comicsgate over? If you look at the growth of the flagship Comicsgate channels, it's not good. Both the biggest channels, Ethan's and Zach's, are absolutely flat, just dead.
Okay, yes, let's look at that. There is a website called Social Blade where you can compare the growth in YouTube channels, and the first two I have up here are, of course, Ethan Van Sciver's comic, Artist Pro Secrets, and Zach's Comics Matter. Ethan is in the red, Zach is in the blue here. Let's start with Zach. He had just under 60,000 subscribers back in, I guess, mid-February of 2018. He grew to just about 90,000, actually 93,000 by the beginning of 2019. But since then, he's only grown by about 10K. That's really in the last year, year plus. And his growth kind of starts to flatline pretty much around April of last year. There's a little takeoff around, again, maybe around, July or August, but it's been definitely pretty flat since then. But what's interesting about Zach's line here is that he started to flatline really before most of the drama in Comicsgate began. Plus, Zach hasn't really been involved in Ethan Van Sciver's drama. He doesn't discuss it on his channel. And he's also been off of Twitter for quite some time now. So Zach's lack of growth, almost certainly isn't drama related. So let's kind of take him out of the discussion here. Now, Ethan, the red line, you can make a case that his lack of growth recently is drama related. His growth kind of tapers off right around July as the drama really started getting going. This is when he started having a big disagreement with Timothy Lim. When he got into a fight with Mike Miller. Miller had posted his "Pride is a sin" tweet in June of that year. And then later, Edwin Boyett disavowed Comicsgate. He started coming after Ethan, and it has largely flatlined since about July or August of last year. So yes, it's possible and maybe likely that drama has hurt Ethan's channel. I should note though that there have been previous periods of slow growth bordering on flatlining for Ethan. For example, you go to the very beginning here, back in February, it's very slow growth really until about March, and then you have the takeoff. And then, again, kind of starting here in October, late September, early October of 2018, you get kind of slow growth until really about the middle of November. So slowdowns are not unprecedented for Ethan, but his recent slowdown, really almost a flatlining, has lasted longer than those other two periods of slow growth. So just based on Ethan's channel, the drama has hurt. Now let's look at the YouTube channels of two of Ethan's antagonists, Edwin Boyett and Mike Miller. Mike here is in the red line, and Mike is in the blue line, and Edwin is in the red. Don't really know what to make of Edwin's channel here. The numbers are a little weird. The red line here, it just suddenly shoots up in March of 2019 and then stays right around there. Some decline beginning in September of last year. So maybe it's hurt Edwin, but his numbers just look weird, kind of like Edwin himself. Okay. Regarding Mike's channel, yeah, I mean, you start. Sorry about that. You start looking at the blue line here, and sometime right around, he had kind of growth up until I guess about. This would be July, starts to almost flatline here, and then, up until September, and then has kind of declined to there, and now, it's kind of flatlined since, about November of last year. So you could argue that, the drama has hurt Mike Miller as well. So a point in favor of Bianca's thesis with when you look at these two channels. Okay, next let's look at two of Ethan's biggest allies, their YouTube channels, Cecil Says and John Malin. They appear on Ethan's live streams regularly. They have certainly been involved in a lot of the drama. Cecil here is in red, Malin is in blue, and they are still growing. When the drama began back in June or July, let's see, Cecil was at about 9,500 subscribers. He is now at 11.3. You could say maybe there was a little flatlining there in December of last year, but he's gotten kind of a bump since then. Let's see, Malin was at, right around what? Back in July, he was at about 3.9 thousand subscribers, and he has now grown to about 6,500. Really, no, the drama has not hurt Cecil or John's channels, their subscriber growth, much at all. So to summarize this part, the overall evidence is kind of mixed, but it definitely leans in favor of the claim that the drama is hurt, particularly, given that, I think the big data point here is the flatlining in Ethan's channel. So let's say, point here in Bianca's favor. Okay, so what are the repercussions of this other than of the Comicsgate drama, other than some flatlining in subscriber growth? Again, here's Bianca.
I know many of you loathe EVS, but he should have 500,000 subs by now. Same with Zach. They're both very entertaining. I assumed EVS would have 1 million subs very soon. Cyberfrog would be a household name.
That seems like a stretch. Here's what I could find on YouTube channels and subscribers. Only 16,000 channels have over 1 million subscribers, according to the latest data I could find. That is very rarefied air. It's a very, very rare achievement in this sense. There are over 31 million YouTube channels out there. 16,000 divided by 31 million is 0.05%. Right. How tiny is that? Well, if you think of a whole pie as 100% and you take a fork and just barely scrape a little bit off the edge of the crust, you might scrape off, what you scrape off is probably 0.05% of that pie, okay? That's a ridiculously high standard to meet, okay? I couldn't find any numbers on how many channels have over 500,000 subscribers, but I guarantee you that is also very rarefied air. Why? Because there are numbers on how many channels have reached 100,000 subscribers, and that is only 160,000, okay? That is 0.5% of YouTube channels, okay? Going back to the pie analogy, if you take out a small chunk of the crust, that is probably 0.5% of the whole pie, okay? Talking a lot about pies here.
Ooh, floor pie.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. So on the one hand, Ethan and Zach, they have already reached a number of subscribers that very few channels get to. And to say that they should have reached a number that only a teeny tiny number of channels have reached, and to suggest that they haven't gotten there is evidence that the drama has hurt. That argument doesn't hold water. Okay. So what else does Bianca say is a repercussion?
Comicsgate could be huge. It should have been huge by now. It could be a viable replacement for mainstream soy comics. Mainstream comics suck. They are ripe for a takeover, and Comicsgate is in a perfect position to conquer it. Oh, F Mark Waid for interfering with the growth of Comicsgate. But, to be fair, it wasn't all Mark Waid. Mark Waid was a big chunk of it, but, Ethan definitely stepped on his dick a few times.
Oh, come on. Really? Comicsgate is supposed to be huge by now? I mean, Comicsgate largely began with Zach's YouTube channel, and that started in 2017. A movement that didn't even begin 3 years ago, that's still in its infancy, is supposed to be the big boy or one of the big boys on the block by now. Add to that Bianca seems to be saying that Comicsgate should be on the verge of knocking Marvel and DC off their pedestals. I mean, both of those have been around for over 50 years. Combined, they have roughly 70 to 75% of the direct comic book market, the sales in stores. Add to that you've had big comic book movies based on Marvel and DC characters now for 20 years, and really 30 years if you count the first Batman movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. All of that, popularizing their brands, and a bunch of loose-knit indie creators should be ready to take them over. In what alternate reality is that a thing? You might as well hand someone a shovel, point him toward a pile of bricks, and say, go build Rome in the next 24 hours. To say that Comicsgate is dead because we haven't reached that levels, that we're not already huge, that we're not on the verge of knocking down Marvel and DC, is absurd. It's totally unreasonable. Now, what is reasonable? Well, I think Ethan Van Sciver's goal for this year for Comicsgate is what's reasonable. He says that CG creators should shoot for making $10 million in sales this year, which is about 1% of the total comic book market. That's a high goal, but it is attainable. And if we reach that goal or get near it, you certainly can't say Comicsgate is dead. And, if we reach that goal, it's probably going to grow after that in the next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. The proof in the pudding, though, will be 2020. And let me finish with this. Any movement, political, social, economic, cultural, whatever, is going to have drama and infighting. Even early on, there will be drama and infighting because that's what human beings do. We are just as likely to disagree and not get along, and maybe more so, than we are to agree and cooperate. And let me give you an example. Look at the gay rights movement, or I guess it's called, the LGBTQ LMNOP movement these days, but it used to be called the gay rights movement. Okay, over, say, the last 15 years, there have been few movements in the United States more successful than the gay rights movement. From winning on gays in the military and same-sex marriage to the enormous pressure they now exert on Hollywood and corporate America, it has been doing a lot of winning in recent years. But wind back the clock to 1993. Just after Bill Clinton becomes president, he is clearly sympathetic to gays and lesbians, and he makes the first attempt at letting gays and lesbians be in the military openly. There is a big backlash against it, and Clinton compromises with the don't ask, don't tell policy, which meant the military was not going to probe into your sexual preferences, the sexual preferences of its soldiers anymore. You could be gay or lesbian in the military as long as you kept your mouth shut, hence the don't tell, and you didn't flaunt your sexuality. The military would leave you alone. It was a step forward, maybe just a small step, but it was still, a step forward. However, a lot of gay rights groups attacked Bill Clinton as a traitor for supporting it, even though he was an ally to gays and lesbians. And a few even went after Barney Frank when, he voted for the defense authorization bill that had don't ask, don't tell in it. Frank was one of the first openly gay members of Congress, and he was definitely, an ally to gays and lesbians. And he spoke out against don't ask, don't tell when it was first proposed. But he probably voted for it knowing that it was still a small improvement. I mean, Barney Frank definitely had a practical side. That said, some gay groups also dubbed him as a traitor. Okay. So did all that drama and infighting mean that the gay rights movement was dead? Well, obviously not, okay? Even the most successful movements will have infighting, and so the notion that the drama and infighting in Comicsgate means it is dead or dying at this point, no, not at all. Alrighty, that's all for now. Until next time, have a very nice day.